further debate, the member from Parkdale High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I have to say, we have an absolutely brilliant leader in Andrea Horwath, but it was a stroke of genius. Yes, absolutely. But it was a stroke of sheer genius that put you in the chair, Mr. Speaker. I have to say that you're doing a superlative job, and that we're very pleased to have you there. I also want to take just a few minutes to follow the member from Huron-Bruce, because I didn't get a chance to do a 2-minute hit on her comments, but I was a minister in Huron-Bruce for 2 years. It was my settlement charge, and I have to say the people there are phenomenal, and it truly is the west coast of Ontario. So congratulations and welcome to the House. You represent an amazing riding and some amazing people. Say hi to them. Say hi to them.
I have to visit.
Now to the meat of the matter, Mr. Speaker, and of course, it's a joy and a privilege to be here speaking again on behalf of the people of Parkdale High Park. I have to say, and of course I'm biased, the most beautiful riding in all of Ontario. Just there, High Park, really. They've sent me here to do a job, and they've sent me here with a message. And I can tell you that most of the people of Parkdale High Park represent that 99% that we've been hearing about in the news. You've been hearing about it because of the Occupy movement. But what I'm looking at in this chamber, Mr. Speaker, is a government that represents the 1%. They do it incredibly effectively, but that's what they do. So as someone representing the 99%, let's start off where it counts. Let's start off with an incredibly shocking fact, and that is that really the one who's dictating the economic policy for this government isn't even in this chamber. It's not even in this chamber. The 108th member, if you will, of this chamber, unelected, is a gentleman who comes from the banking background, a gentleman to whom we are paying $1,500 a day to inform this government about what it should be doing. Now, the good people in Parkdale High Park have many good friends. It's coming up the holiday season. We think about who we love, our good friends, who we're going to gift. I can tell you not one of them is thinking of their banker this season.
I got to send them a note.
They're not thinking of their banker this season, Mr. Speaker, and I'll tell you why. Because most of them are in debt up to their eyeballs, as are most Canadians. And who do they owe that money to?
Drummond.
Who do they owe that money to? Banks. They owe that money to banks, and if the interest rates bump up even a percentage point, we have people in my riding that will not be able to pay the rent and feed their children or pay their mortgages, seniors who, despite the much-touted tax credit, which I'll get to in a few minutes,
take your time,
will not be able to pay their way in their homes. Those are bankers. He's a banker. This is like asking the fox how to build a cost-efficient hen house. One would question the fox's motives. One would question even the structure of the design, because foxes and hens don't have the same view of the world. A banker who's earning $1,500 a day does not have the same view of the economic world as a mother on social assistance who's trying to raise her children.
You will agree with that?
He does not have the same point of view as a small business person who represents 90% of the new jobs created. Small business, Mr. Speaker, not big business, not banks, not their major corporate customers, not the government's major corporate sponsors, but small business creates 90% of the jobs in Ontario. No, he doesn't speak for small business. I'm talking to small business people all the time in my riding. They're hanging on by their fingernails. One told me off the record, a leader among small business owners, that there isn't one small business for sale anywhere in the GTA, not one small business anywhere in the GTA that's not for sale, if the price is right. And the price is anything that pays their rent. The minister is not listening to the end of the sentence. The ministers aren't. Mr. Speaker, how can we conduct business when they don't listen? So what he said at the end of the sentence is this.
I would ask the Attorney General to cease and desist from his behaviour.
What he said is the price would be right if it paid the rent and it paid for their principal costs alone, no profit whatsoever. That's the state of small business. It's funny that this government didn't consult small business. They're not being paid $1,500 a day, Mr. Speaker. They didn't consult the woman on welfare when they want to look at economic answers. She could use the $1,500 a day. They didn't talk to people like contract faculty who aren't getting paid at our community colleges. I see the colleges are coming to lobby us this week. I got something to tell them. Didn't pay them $1,500 a day to give them some economic advice. So the question really is, whose economy is it? And very clearly, Mr. Speaker, when you hire a banker to tell you how to run an economy, chances are it's going to be an economy that's favourable to banks. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Now, if they had checked with someone else, you might get a little different answer about who this economy is supposed to work for. You might have got a slightly different answer. You know, we just came through a period where 1,500 cities around the world saw hundreds of thousands of people gather in their main squares, streets, and parks, and the one thing they all had in common was they were tired of the 99% paying for the 1%. And they all thought, and by the way, they're not alone, even Warren Buffett and Bill Clinton agree with them, that the 1% might actually be able to pay a little bit more. But that's not this government's response. That's not their response. In fact, $600 million in the last couple of years has gone right to corporations. And we're looking at, by the way, billions more going to corporations. For what? For boxes at Skydome, Rogers Centre, excuse me, for luxuries like taking clients out to lunches. Now, Mr. Speaker, if I go back to the woman on welfare, if I talk to the contract faculty worker, if I talk to the small business owner, and I tell him that some of the wealthiest bankers, insurance companies, large corporations, which, by the way, are major funders of the party opposite, he who pays the piper, Mr. Speaker, if I told him that there are yet more breaks going their way, and the small business owner says, but all I wanted was an extra 0.5% off my taxes, or the woman on social assistance, or the woman trying to make ends meet on minimum wage, just a minimum wage that would get me to the poverty level. And then you ask them, Mr. Speaker, to pay even more taxes, a regressive flat tax like the HST that's going to hit the poorest the worst. Then you say, but, you know, we need your taxes so we can keep supporting the Don Drummonds of the world. Because, you know, $1,500 a day has got to come from somewhere. Got to come from somewhere. Got to come from HST off essentials for the seniors. It's got to come from HST off the essentials for those just making ends meet. That's where it's coming from. The largest shift in Ontario's history from the wealthy to the middle class and the poor is the HST. Largest shift ever in our history. And you know what? We have the highest rate of poverty ever since the 1930s, too.
God bless.
You know, maybe there's a correlation between some of the policies on the other side of the aisle with the Don Drummonds and the large corporations.
Oh, poverty reduction plan.
And the fact that the middle class is emptying out. You know, I always tell a story when I'm speaking to constituents or any group about the economy. I always say, I grew up in Toronto, Torontonian, born and bred, lived all my life except for a couple of years in Ontario, and quite frankly, my family, in those days, and I'm old, Mr. Speaker, I'm getting older by the minute in this place. In my day, on one salary, you could own a home in downtown Toronto and a car in the driveway and pay it off, and the lucky among you, and many were that lucky, could have a cottage too on one salary.
Those were the days.
Now, our children's generation on 2 salaries.